that we own the church of God. But Peter is saying, no, feed the flock of God, which is among you, taking the oversight. Now that's it. That is good doctrine that Peter is giving them. We are overseers. You know, if you have an estate and you employ somebody to oversee the estate, no matter how long, you know, some pastors believe if they have been in the establishment for 50 years, the church belongs to them. Yeah. And they don't want to move. Even at the point of retirement, they do not want to move. Especially if the church is yielding good offering. They don't want to move. But Peter is saying that the church does not belong to us. We are overseers. And if you have, or if you bought an estate and you employ a person, whether it be a man or a woman, to oversee that estate, they can stay there for 90 years. The estate is not theirs. And it will never be theirs. They will die on the estate, but the estate is still not theirs. Some of us believe if we die, the church will stop. And so we believe the church belongs to us. I am the only person that keeping the church alive. But I can hear the Lord telling Peter in Matthew chapter 16, for thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall never prevail against it. God has built the church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Feed the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, as though somebody is forcing you to do it, or as though you want to force people to obey you, but willingly. Whatever we are doing for God, we must do it willingly. Nobody should, force us or constrain us to serve God or to do things for God, not by constraint, but willingly, not for, I love this part, not for filthy lucre, not for filthy lucre. You know, the perception out there is that the church is making money. And so, everybody wants to open a church, whether they are called or not. And all these ministries popping all about the place. Every school in Barbados is occupied with a church. Now, that's nothing wrong, mind you. That's nothing wrong. But if the motive is filthy lucre, it's wrong. Because if the church is not evangelistic, then God will cause split in the churches, that churches would go in the community to reach people. But when you organize the church just because of money, it's wrong. It's wrong. And Peter is saying to us, we should not do it, just for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. We must have a ready mind. Our mind must be ready. We must be willing. And we must understand, if God has told us to do it, we must be willing to do it. I saw my nephew in St. Lucia posted last night. I read it, but I am not 100% in agreement with him. He says that Paul was a tent maker, Jesus was a carpenter, and those pastors that don't have day jobs, they are tricksters, they are thieves. Because it says, well, how is it Jesus had a day job and Paul had a day job and all the disciples had a day job, and then you come and you tell me you don't have a day job, you are a thief? But I don't agree with that wholeheartedly. I believe if you are going to the ministry solely for money, then you are crook. But I believe if a church has grown and the pastor is faithful and genuine, and the church decides, well, pastor, to attend to the needs of the people, we need to employ a few people because the church is making enough money, we can pay you. We might not be able to pay you what you were making out there, but if you believe God has, called you, and you can, we can sustain you with such and such, and we can employ a secretary and so forth, and some people to see the daily administration of the church. There is nothing wrong, as long the church can support it or can afford it. But we should never go in the ministry because of money. It's wrong. And I am seeing so many things are saying about those prosperity preachers. And one of them came and said that he repented because he was doing that all the time, and he was preaching for money all the time. I would not call names, but he repented. Yeah, and his nephew came and said he's lying, he hasn't repented. The nephew came on Facebook and said he's a liar, he has not repented. Because, and I mean, these are the things that are causing people to go against the work of God. Many people want to turn, but they do not want to come to the church because of the scars that we have put on the church. We need to understand. Peter is saying we should not do it for filthy lucre. We should not do it because of constraint, but we should do it willingly and a ready mind. Neither, he says in verse 3, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being ensample, which is an example to the flock. Again, too many of us want to be lord over people. Now I am not saying it is wrong if you are a member of this church and you are going away to say, well, pastor, I'm going away. But if you had to leave without telling me you're going away, why should I get vexed? Did I pay the passage? Did I pay your passage? Did I give you accommodation money? Why should I get vexed? Why should I get annoyed to call you in a meeting and chastise you because you went away? Now, I am saying that's the best thing to do as brothers and sisters. We are leaving the island. We can tell we are leaving. But if in case you left and didn't say anything, why should I get annoyed? And Peter is saying to us in verse 3 that we should not as being lords over God's heritage. Too many of us want to be domineering. We want to control people. And we ought not to try to control God's people. And if you are an example to God's people, you don't have to demand respect, but you command respect. You understand what I'm saying? People will respect you. You don't have to demand, say, Sister Celia, you must respect me. But according to the way I live and the way I act and my disposition, then I will command respect. Some people, if you don't call them pastors, some pastors, if you don't call them pastors, you have disrespected them. But I wasn't born as a pastor. I was born as Fitzroy Anthony. And when I became a Christian, I became brother. So I'm Brother Anthony. And even though you don't call me brother, I still would not get offended. You understand what I'm saying? We are engaged in too many petty things in the house of God. Now I know that we have to give the pastor respect, yes. I know in the same vein that I'm giving the pastor respect, I must respect in the same vein Sister Marion. I should not have greater respect to the pastor than Sister Marion. I should respect them on the same level because they are children of the Most High God. And we must respect each other. At all times, we have to respect each other. So Peter, here, as he concludes the letter, he's telling them, do not be Lord, and that's for the elders, do not be Lord over God's heritage. But instead of being Lord, you need to be an example to the flock. Be an example. And when that, if you are an example to the flock, if you are not lording over the flock, if you are not doing it for filthy lucre's sake, verse 4 answers that. Verse 4 addresses that. It says, and when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive what? A crown of glory that fadeth not away. Our reward is not on this earth. What we are working for in the church, you know, sometimes church life is hard. It's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you don't feel like coming. I'm telling you. There are times when I work and I reach home, I don't feel like going anywhere. But we have Bible study, I must come. Some Sunday mornings I wake up, I don't feel like going anywhere. But we have church. I must come. But what is Peter saying? Peter is saying, those things, you are not doing it for money. You are not doing it because someone is constraining you to do it. But you are doing it willingly because you love the Lord. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, that chief shepherd is Jesus Christ himself. He says, when Jesus Christ, the chief shepherd, shall appear, you will receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. You understand what I'm saying? Peter is right on target. The crown that God will give us does not fade away. He will give us an everlasting crown. But if I give you a gift, that gift, if it is tangible, let's say I give you a gift of money for serving the Lord, how long it will last? Let's say I give you a barrel of food for serving the Lord, how long it will last? Let's say I give you a suit or outfit for serving the Lord or for doing work in the church, how long it will last? The wear and tear, eventually. But that crown that the chief shepherd will give us, it will not fade, but it will last forever. And that's what we should have our attention on. That's what we should work for. A crown, the crown of life. When the chief shepherd shall come, shall appear, we shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Then in verse 5 he says, likewise ye younger, the young one among us. Submit yourself unto the elder. The younger ones, Peter is saying, respect the elders. And the vice versa, the elders must respect the younger ones. Don't disrespect them. And that's why I was in arms with a guy who disrespected Pastor Marshall. And I mean to the highest degree. And the Pastor Marshall died and he did not apologize. Then he cannot tell me anything about Christianity. Honestly. Because even someone who was listening to the service, I was told, came across and says, is this man a Christian? You all had such a service. And then after the service, for him to be acting like the devil, disrespected Pastor Marshall in the worst way. What can you tell me about Christianity then? And that's what Peter is saying. You should respect your elders, and likewise the elders must respect the younger ones. But here Peter is saying, likewise ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another. All of you. Sister A must be subjected to Sister B, and Sister B must be subjected to Sister C, and vice versa. Every one of us should have the highest respect to each other. You know why? Because we are children of the heavenly King. We are heavenly material. God has washed us. He has purged us. He has cleansed us. And we need to understand that even though the brother might not be how you like him to be respected, even though the sister might not what you want her to be, respect her, because it is from God. We need to respect each other, and Peter advised to respect each other. And be clothed with humility, for God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. Humility is something that is lacking even among Christians today. To be humble.
Telling me.
You know, I have been saying so for a long time. Sometimes you look on the platform and you see the pastors, well, not only pastors, but the men and women too, and lining up this, and they look so pious.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they as though they do not walk on earth. You know, and this new method now that the preacher and the armor bearer, and they have the cloth here and the jug of juice, and wherever the preacher turns behind the preacher, and he will wipe the preacher's face and so forth, and wherever the preacher. What is the house of God coming to? What is the house? And the Lord asks us to be humble. You don't have to walk behind me. You don't have to wipe my face. God help me to buy a handkerchief and I can wipe my own face.
Thank you, Jesus.
You don't have to walk behind me with any jar of juice. I'm a child of God. If I need some water, I will ask for some water. Or if they put water there for me, and if I need it, I will drink it. But why on earth do you have to walk behind me everywhere I go to wipe my face and with a jug of juice and a towel on your hand? Are you a puppet? And those ministers accepting that, they love it.
That's why
They love it.
they answer that.
Beloved, even you giving a preacher a gift, and the armor bearer has to receive the gift. For him, he cannot receive the gift. Nonsense. And Peter is saying to the Christians that you must be humble, be clothed with humility. You know, when you are clothed with something, you be clothed, your garment should be humility. For God resisteth. And in fact, let me put it in another way. God hates the proud. He hates the proud. But what? He gives grace to the humble. He gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves in verse 6, therefore. Let me read that again. Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. And what? That he may exalt you in due time. Your time will come. Don't be hasty. If you are to be somewhere at a particular time or have some position at a particular time, God will take you there. You know how many people lost their minds because they didn't get the position? I'm serious. A lady once was renting my cousin's apartment, and she had a nervous breakdown. Why? Because she was expecting the position and she did not get it, and she got a nervous breakdown. Another fella, I remember, I knew him because he used to pass while I was working all day, and I knew him. I was working for his in-laws, and he had a nervous breakdown because the top CEO, the CEO, was going to retire and he was next in line, but they didn't give it to him, and he had a nervous breakdown. Pride! And that's what I try to tell some pastors. And some people believe, well, the pastor left, I am next in line. That's not true. A church can only have a pastor when the church calls the pastor. Not because somebody left or somebody dies to say you are next in line. And we don't want to wait on God, but the Lord says to wait. The Bible says to wait. Wait on the Lord. They that wait on the Lord shall what? Shall renew their strength, and they shall
Mount up
with wings as eagles, and they shall
not faint.
walk and not faint, and shall run and not faint. You shall walk and not get weary, and run and not faint.
Yeah.
And again he says, wait on the Lord. Again I say, wait
on the Lord. Be of the come.
When God exalts you, when God puts you in a position, you are there. You are cement in that position. But if you are in the position that God did not put you in, you will have all the problems in your life.
True.
But when God puts you there, He makes even your enemy be at peace with you. So Peter is saying to wait.
True.
Wait on the Lord. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty, underscore mighty hand of God, that He may exalt you in due time. And verse 7 says, cast all your cares upon Him, for He cares for you. Are you casting all your cares upon the Lord, or are you carrying it all by yourself? I can always remember the English book I had at school when I was in 4th standard. The man asked for a ride, and the fella gave him a ride, but he had a heavy basket carrying, and he went in the back seat with the basket on his head. And when the driver had drove a distance and he looked in the rearview mirror, he saw him still sitting down in the back seat with with the basket on his head. And the man asked him, well, sir, what are you doing? I gave you a ride, put down the basket. He replied to the driver, I asked you for a ride for myself, not for my load.
Simple, man.
You understand what I'm saying? And it seems as though we ask God for a ride for ourselves, but not for our burdens, not for our cares. But didn't he say, cast all your cares upon me, for I care for you?
Yes, Lord.
Did he say, come ye, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I shall give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and ye learn of me, for I'm meek and lowly in heart, for my yoke is easy and my burden light.
Amen.
No matter how heavy your burden, if you give it to Jesus Christ,
Thank you,
it will be
Jesus.
light.
Yes, Lord. Thank you, Father. I give you all the glory.
Give him all your cares. The song says, give it all, give it all.
Give it all to Jesus.
Give it all to Jesus. So why are we carrying it?
Unnecessary.
Why are we so burdened? Why are we so troubled? Give it to Jesus. Sister Karen, there's the thing coming up.
Yes.
Give it to Jesus.
That's right.
Let Jesus take over.
Hallelujah.
Let Jesus take over. And if Jesus is in it, it cannot fail.
That's right. Thank you, Jesus.
Give it to Jesus.
Trust Him all the way.
Stop worrying, but give it to Jesus. You don't have money to buy groceries? Give it to Jesus.
Oh, yes, Lord.
And you would realize that somebody from nowhere that you never thought about, you might not have even known the person will come and say to you, Sister Mary, God tells me to give you this.
Yes, thank you, Jesus.
And you have groceries for the week.
Thank you, Jesus.
Trust God.
I trust you, Lord.
Trust God. He's still on the throne.
Yes, He's a
And
miracle.
He will not forget His own. So cast all your cares upon Him, for He careth for you.
Miracle working God.
Then He says, be sober. He's calling on all the Christians. Now remember, the Christians were being troubled. They were being persecuted. They were scattered all through the provinces. But hear what Peter is telling them. I want you to be sober. I want you to be in your right mind. And I want you to be vigilant. Like somebody like a soldier. We are soldiers. And if you are soldiers, soldiers are at war, don't we?
Yes.
Would you go to Iraq and be careless? Or would you be vigilant?
Yes.
Because there are mines all around the place. The enemy is now ready to throw how do you call it, these grenades at you. The grenades at you. They're ready to shoot you. So you have to be sober first of all. And you have to be vigilant. Because what? Your adversary, you have an adversary, believe it or not. Sometimes we believe that we are one another's adversary, but you are making a mistake. You have a greater adversary, the devil.
Yes. On the lane.
He is like a roaring lion. Sometimes you think you're standing, and Paul says, he that is standing, take heed, lest he falls.
Yep.
And this person fall on you, laughing at them because you believe you are standing so strong. You are so solid, but you don't know that Satan is plotting for you. He's planning for you. He's doing everything in his power not to throw you down alone. He wants to destroy you. And give him a chance, he will destroy you. But thank God for Jesus Christ. Be ye sober.
Vigilant.
Be vigilant. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walking about, seeking whom he may devour. And finally, verse 9 says, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same affliction are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. You are saying the same thing that you are going through. There are those in the world that are going through it. So don't ever believe that you are the only person going through what you are going through.
True.
Sometimes if you hear the story of others, you might not even want to know your story. When I look at, I believe I had a rough childhood. Although we had things to eat because we had a lot of fruits and so forth, mangoes plentiful, cashew nuts and guavas plentiful. But when it comes to food in the house, sometimes we didn't have food. But when I look at some children today and realize what they are going through, I had a good childhood. I was able to sell cashews, all of us to sell cashews to buy our books and to buy shoes. But I walked 9 miles to school without shoes. And when the pitch gets too hot, we took tar and stuck it on mango seeds and put one here and one there under our feet and to walk the streets. 9 miles. 9 miles.
Just that one.
Pardon?
You got to teach us that one.
Pardon?
You have to teach us the shoes, how to do that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because you get innovative because
Problem.
mango seed, you took the tar and stick one here and stick one there and you're walking on it
Wow.
because the pitch is so hot.
The
You understand
Africans
me?
use plastic bottles. The
But
Africans use
when I
plastic bottles.
saw what children elsewhere going through in the dumps, trying to get food, I didn't reach that stage. We didn't reach that stage. So when you believe your situation is dire, think again. And we better thank God. Thank God for every moment.
True.
Thank God for every moment. And the message today is that we as children of God, there is room for improvement. Never be too proud. Never be. I have a fella that is passing at me. He doesn't even know my name, but he's like I think he's out of his mind, probably, I don't know what, but he's like a parrot. But he calling me the man, the man, the man. And every time he passes, he wants either give him some money or he wants some biscuits and a drink and corned beef. And the ring will say, wait, you want biscuit, drinks and corned beef too?